The Gravette Fire Department wants to change the way it collects volunteer fire dues. Tonight, the department cleared up any confusion those fees would be going up. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer tells you about a special election that would allow residents to pay these fees through property taxes.
Send out roughly $80,000 in voluntary fire dues every year. We never receive more than $30,000 to $35,000 a year back.
If it's a fire or medical emergency, you can expect the Gravette Fire Department to be there inside city limits or not.
We provide fire protection to outside of the city limits. Is roughly the same population as we serve here in Gravette, and so we don't have any full-time members to take care of them.
To get that guarantee to continue, they're asking people who live outside city limits to change the way they pay their fire dues. Right now, those dues are sent through the mail.
I imagine some people look at it and throw it away. Maybe some people, it doesn't even make it inside.
If voters approve this, those fees would not increase, but be added to their property taxes, about $5 a month.
The county doesn't pay us to run calls outside of the city limits. They do, however, provide us with some equipment, and which we're very thankful for, but it's extremely expensive to respond to calls and to keep all of the proper equipment.
They're hoping if voters decide to change this, they'll have more participation. Less than 50% of people pay fire dues now. It could help them get better prepared to handle these out-of-city limit calls. Captain Travis Harp says they're aiming to hire someone specifically for this when volunteer firefighters are typically at work.
We want to provide high-quality emergency services to everyone when they call 911, and not just, those that it's convenient for.
In Gravette, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
That issue will be on the ballot for the special election that is set for May 13. Meanwhile, a fire destroyed the Shamrock Liquor Warehouse in Fort Smith today. Firefighters got the call just before 5 this morning there at the store on Midland Boulevard. After the fire was controlled, owner Shirley Yeager says she saw charred walls, broken glass, and insulation hanging from the ceiling. Right now, she says they're focused on and looking forward to the day that customers return back to the store.
We hope that as soon as we're back up and running that we will see familiar faces again, and they'll want to come back like they always have all these years.
Investigators are now working to try to find the cause of that fire. Sebastian County Sheriff's Office says deputies got several illegal guns off the street this month. They shared this photo of the weapons that they seized. They were seized during a traffic stop in south part of the county. Weapons included body armor and several rifle cases. The man who had them was a convicted felon prohibited from owning firearms. They're now facing new charges tonight of possession of a firearm by a certain person and theft by receiving. Arkansas's 95th legislative session wrapping up this afternoon at the state capitol. Wrapped up several months of committee meetings, public comment, and of course a lot of votes. Governor Sanders closed out the session this afternoon with bill signing ceremony and a news conference, speaking on what her administration accomplished the lawmakers this legislative session.
But I think there's another Latin phrase to describe this legislative session. Arkansas state motto, Regnat Populus, the people rule. For too long, our government has been enslaved to powerful special interests. Not anymore. We do not work for them. We work for the people of Arkansas. In this session, we delivered.
Democratic Party leaders in the state capitol also held a news conference this afternoon after the session wrapped up. Lawmakers pointed to many of the causes they fought for this year while in the legislative minority.
This session will be remembered for out-of-control spending on misguided policies, power grabs away from the people of Arkansas, and divisive national politics continuing to seep into our state.
You can find all of our coverage from the 95th General Assembly on our website, 5newsonline.com. We'll also follow any developments on court challenges filed against the new laws in the months ahead. New tonight from the Capitol, the governor signed a bill into law that will dramatically change the laws regulating pharmacies. Arkansas, now the first state that's enacted a law banning pharmacy benefit managers from owning a pharmacy in the state. Now, those managers run prescription drug coverage for big clients like health insurers and employers that provide coverage. CVS is one of the nation's largest pharmacy chains and had urged the governor to veto this legislation. CVS released a statement to us tonight. They say in part that they welcome good faith discussion with policymakers, but believe the new Arkansas law is bad policy that will take away access to pharmacy care and hike prescription drug costs. The governor also signed legislation today placing more regulations on social media in the state. Senator Tyler Dees is a sponsor of the bill. He says when it takes effect, parents will be able to sue for damages, medical bills, and attorney's fees if a social media platform contributes to the serious harm of a minor.
It allows you to hold accountable these big tech platforms. And that's really where we're trying to give the parents the best framework to bring a case and to protect their children. And just the stories we hear across the country about how children have been preyed upon. We want to make sure our Kansans are protected in every way.
Now, the bill does not apply to advertisements created and hosted by third parties or anything protected under First Amendment free speech rights. Governor did veto 2 bills today. One would have amended the state's medical marijuana laws to allow dispensaries to deliver orders and operate drive-through windows. Governor said she vetoed that bill because it would have made it easier to access marijuana. The other bill centered on an appropriations bill for the University of Arkansas Little Rock over concerns that she had about funding earmarked for the institution on race and ethnicity. In what is shaping up to be a battle pitting the judicial branch of government against the executive branch, a district court judge is considering contempt of court charges against the Trump administration. Erica Brown is at the White House now with the latest developments.
2 planes carrying more than 200 migrants to El Salvador last month could land the Trump administration in criminal contempt of court. In a 46-page decision issued Wednesday, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg said probable cause exists for contempt proceedings as he accused administration officials of defying his order to return deportation flights rushed to El Salvador under the Alien Enemies Act. Boasberg said, quote, "The Constitution does not tolerate willful disobedience of judicial orders." The White House says it will appeal the decision. This comes as the Trump administration doubles down on their deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador in March after what the Justice Department called a clerical error.
Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a Maryland father. He will never live in the United States of America again.
The White House slammed Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen's visit to El Salvador Wednesday as he met with the Salvadoran vice president in hopes of securing Abrego Garcia's return to the U.S.
It's appalling and sad that Senator Van Hollen and the Democrats applauding his trip to El Salvador today are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents and our citizens.
Senator Van Hollen has been chronicling his journey on his X account.
I told his wife and his family I would do everything possible to bring him home, and we're going to keep working at this until we're successful.
Van Hollen also met with U.S. Embassy officials in El Salvador and says so far his requests to meet with Abrego Garcia or arrange a phone or video call with him were all denied. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.